Welcome to the Success in Africa podcast with Dr. Modupe, your weekly dose of leadership vitamins to make you successful in Africa.
Hello and welcome to the Success in Africa podcast episode 31. My name is Dr. Modupe Taylor Pierce, and I am a scholar and practitioner of leadership and organizational development. Simply put, I study what makes people successful. I have been studying this for 3 decades with a particular focus on people in Africa. And in this podcast, I will share stories, lessons, and insights about people having success in Africa. Why am I doing this? Because I am sick and tired of Africa being the poorest continent in the world. We are blessed with the greatest resource, young people. Africa will soon have the largest number of working age people in the world. And when these people achieve success, watch out, Africa's wealth will be unparalleled. Why? Because I don't know of too many Africans whose goal in life it is to die poor. You see, success in life is simply the achievement of a predetermined goal, whether that goal is owning a house or creating employment for 1,000 people, or transforming your country into a highly efficient, non-corrupt country like those Kenyan Gen Zs are doing right now. This podcast has been created to help you to achieve it. So if you are serious about achieving success in Africa, I want you to subscribe to this channel. If you like this video after you've watched it, please click the like button. This podcast is brought to you courtesy of BCA Leadership, the largest leadership enhancement company in Africa. If you have questions that you want me to answer after watching this video, just log on to BCA Online. The link is on the screen, and post your questions there. That is where I will respond to your questions. Today, we're going to start a new 5-part series on great employees. Achieving success in Africa requires, amongst many things, the ability to identify and recruit great employees. One person alone is not enough to build the type of organization or company that most of you who are listening to this podcast would describe as your ideal picture of success. To achieve this dream, you are going to need other people to choose to invest their talents into your company. Choosing the right employees can catapult your business to great success, just as choosing the wrong ones can literally sink your company. So, over the next 5 weeks, we are going to explore the 5 C's of a great employee. These are 5 characteristics, and we will see them illustrated in a few successful Africans. These 5 characteristics are calling, chemistry, culture, character, and competence. Calling, chemistry, culture, character, and competence. The first of the C's that we're going to explore today that makes up a great employee is calling. To illustrate what I mean by calling, let me tell you about Dr. Deqo Mohamed, the founder and executive director of the Hagala Institute in Somalia. The Hagala Institute is an organization that improves public health in Africa through research, education, and community health delivery. The mission of this institute is to provide knowledge and skills to improve the quality of healthcare systems within Africa, and their vision is to improve the availability and affordability of public health across Africa. They do this by conducting healthcare research in Africa, providing health education, community health centers, and mobile clinics. This institute was founded by Deqo Mohamed, who as a young girl resisted her mother's calls for her to become a doctor, and instead she wanted to become a teacher. Deqo Mohamed, is the daughter of Dr. Hawa Abdi and Mr. Aden Mohamed, both Somalis. Dr. Hawa Abdi was a Somalian physician and humanitarian and was nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize for her humanitarian work in Somalia. Deqo grew up in Somalia and her early years were peaceful and fun. She was a normal teenager growing up with dreams of becoming a teacher. Her mother wanted her to become a doctor, but she loved the classroom more. The civil war in Somalia, however, changed her life dramatically. School was interrupted, people got seriously hurt. She saw her mom struggling with the workload, people needing care. In the midst of the chaos and suffering, Deqo herself was pressed into medical service and had to handle the delivery of a pregnant woman's baby at the tender age of 16. It was during this time that she saw the need to study medicine and become a doctor. She was fortunate to have the opportunity to be sent to Russia to attend medical school. After medical school, Deqo went to the United States of America and pursued further education there, and then later returned to Somalia. When she came back, there was significant need for every kind of humanitarian service in Somalia. Her mother had established a rural health development organization, which then became the Dr. Hawa Abdi Foundation and incorporated a place called Hope Village, where at one time 90,000 people lived and all of their humanitarian needs were taken care of. These people were mainly women and children. The Hope Village contained a hospital, schools, nutritional center, and provided shelter, water, medical care, mostly to these destitute women and children. Deqo's mother recruited Deqo to run the village when she returned to Somalia, and Deqo agreed. Her mom needed help, and the people needed her help, and it sounded like a good idea. In 2008, she took over the village as its CEO, with her mom by her side helping to run it. However, in a few years, with her mom's declining health, meaning that Deqo shouldered more and more of the load, Deqo found herself not enjoying her work. And by 2014, she nearly had a breakdown. Luckily for her, she had a chance to take some time away at a retreat and realized that while her mother wanted to save the world and had thus created a mini city which was doing that for the people in there, this was not Deqo's calling. You see, Dr. Deqo liked education but didn't want to run schools. She didn't want to run power stations or water utilities or any other of the non-medical activities that came with running the Dr. Hawa Abdi Foundation and Hope City. Her passion was in medicine, medical research, and improving healthcare. She had taken on this role at her mother's behest, partially because she was afraid that her mom's legacy would die with her. Dr. Deqo set out to find people who had the passion to run schools and power stations and let them run it as she focused her activities on medical services and research. She saw a need for better medical education and research throughout Africa. According to Deqo, the medical professionals in Africa are so busy with just survival that there is little or no time for them to improve their skills and knowledge. Doctors working in Africa typically cannot even remember the last time they went for continuing education. Health systems in Somalia and many other countries in Africa are broken. People don't go to hospitals because they mistrust the hospital or don't even believe or trust Western medicine because they think it will make them sick. She realized that her passion, Dr. Deqo's passion, was in achieving three objectives. Number one, medical education for medical professionals. Number two, policy making to impact health services and delivery. And number three, research to find solutions to African health challenges. This is how the Hagala Institute was born. Dr. Deqo let go of her misaligned role at the Dr. Hawa Abdi Foundation, and she embraced a new role which aligned better with her calling. She was not only happier doing this, but also more effective at it. Today, the Institute operates 2 hospitals and 2 mobile clinics, each of which connect and serve several villages. She just opened a new diagnostic center which incorporates a lab and does mammograms and other essential health services important for women and children. The Institute continues to grow towards its vision of impacting healthcare in Somalia and in Africa. And as it grows, Dr. Deqo has incorporated the lessons she learned from her experience as an employee in recruiting employees for the Institute. In interviews, she spends more time talking about the candidates' raison d'etre than about their technical skills. In fact, she often distrusts interviews and resorts to giving candidates a tryout contract for 6 months to see if they are a fit. During those 6 months, she will usually give the candidates the most difficult tasks and see how they handle the task and the people around them. She has learned that even the most competent person can be a poor fit for an organization if the work and the mission of the organization is not aligned with that person's personal mission and passion. This issue of calling is very important to Dr. Deqo as an employer because she herself endured the mistake of not aligning on this issue when she was an employee at the Dr. Hawa Abdi Foundation and Hope Village. What can we learn from the journey of Dr. Deqo? Well, we can learn that when it comes to finding good employees, we must ensure that the employee's passion is aligned to the mission and vision of the organization. When this happens, an employee will happily give much more than the minimum effort to the achievement of the vision of the organization, and the organization is more likely to achieve its vision. But when there is a calling misalignment, the employee will soon become disengaged and eventually will leave the organization. I hope you've learned something from today's podcast. This brings us to the end of our podcast today. Next week, we will continue with our series on the 5 C's of a great employee to help you as you build your company or organization in Africa. I want to say thank you to you for listening or watching. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and like this video. Tell your friends about it. Together, we can transform our beloved continent. See you next week.
Tomorrow belongs to those people who prepare for it today. See you next week.